Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today we are very fortunate. We have His Grace, Tarun Patodi Prabhuji from Delhi, India. And Prabhuji is going to enlighten us from Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 6, Chapter 16 and verse number 11. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanva Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. You may take over the call, Prabhuji, when you're ready. And do you want me to make you the host, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji, please make me the host. Yeah. Yes, so I am the host now. I will share my screen. So we'll do one Vaishnav song and then we'll start the discussion. So this is the Vaishnav song by a devotee named Govind Das. It's a very famous song which tells us to become fearless when we are practicing Krishna consciousness. Bhajahu re mana Shri Nandana Abhaya Charanarvindare Bhajahu re mana Shri Nandana Abhaya Charanarvindare Durlabh Manav Janam Satsange Durlabh Manav Janam Satsange Tarahu e Bhava Sindhure Tarahu e Bhava Sindhure Shita Atap Bat Barishana Idin Jamini Jagire Vifal se Viro Kripana Durjana Vifal se Viro Kripana Durjana Chapala Sukh Lab Lagire Chapala Sukh Lab Lagire Idhan Yovana Putra Parijana Ite ki ache parati Idhan Yovana Putra Parijana Ite ki ache parati Kamal dal jal jeevan talmal Kamal dal jal jeevan talmal Bhajahu hari pad niti re Bhajahu hari pad niti re Shravana kirtana smarana vandana पाद सेवन दास्य रे पूजन सखी जन आत्मनिवेदन पूजन सखी जन आत्मनिवेदन गोविंद दास अभिलाष रे गोविंद दास अभिलाष रे भजहु रे मन श्री नंदन अभय चरणर विंदरे भजहु रे मन श्री नंदन अभय चरणर विंदरे जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद. So I request devotees can read a translation of one stanza. They can unmute and read.
We have read first one. O mind, just worship the lotus feet of the son of Nand, which make one fearless. Having obtained this rare human birth, cross over this ocean of worldly existence through the association of saintly persons.
Thank you, Prabhu. So next, somebody else can read.
Both in the day and at night I remain sleepless, suffering the pains of the heat and cold, the wind and the rain. For a fraction of flickering happiness, I have uselessly served wicked and miserly men.
What assurance of real happiness is there in all of one's wealth, youthfulness, sons and family members? This life is tottering like a drop of water on a lotus petal. Therefore, you should always serve and worship the divine lotus feet of Lord Hari.
It is a desire and great longing of Govindas to engage himself in the 9 processes of bhakti, namely hearing the glories of Lord Hari and chanting those glories, constantly remembering him and offering prayers to him, serving the Lord's lotus feet, serving the Supreme Lord as a servant, worshipping him with flowers and incense and so forth, serving him as a friend and completely offering the Lord one's very self. Srila Govindas ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So I'll share my screen, and today we'll be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 16, verse 11 and onwards. So verse 11 states, Na datta atma hi guni gunam na dosham na kriya phalam उदासीनवत् आसीना परावर्दृगीश्वरा न दत्त आत्मा हि गुणं न दोषं न क्रियाफलम् उदासीनवत् आसीना परावर्दृगीश्वरा न दत्त आत्मा हि गुणं न दोषं न क्रियाफलम् उदासीनवत् आसीना परावर्दृग ईश्वरा. So word by word translation. No, not Adate, accepts Atma, the Supreme Lord. He, indeed, Gudam, happiness. No, not Dosham, unhappiness. No, nor Kriyafalam, the result of any fruitive activity. Udasinvat, exactly like a neutral man. Asina, sitting in the core of the heart. Para Avaradrik, seeing the cause and effect. Ishvara, the Supreme Lord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The Supreme Lord, Atma, the creator of cause and effect, does not accept the happiness and distress that result from fruitive activities. He is completely independent of having to accept a material body, and because he has no material body, he is always neutral. The living entities, being part and parcel of the Lord, possess his qualities in a minute quantity. Therefore, one should not be affected by lamentation. Purport: the conditioned soul has friends and enemies. He is affected by the good qualities and faults of his position. The Supreme Lord, however, is always transcendental because he is the Ishwar, the supreme controller. He is not affected by duality. It may therefore be said that he sits in the core of everyone's heart as a neutral witness of the causes and effects of one's activities, good and bad. We should also understand that udasin, neutral, does not mean that he takes no action. Rather, it means that he is not personally affected. For example, a court judge is neutral when two opposing parties appear before him, but he still takes action as the case warrants. To become completely neutral, indifferent to material activities, we should simply seek shelter at the lotus feet of the supreme neutral person. Maharaj Chitraketu was advised that remaining neutral in such trying circumstances as the death of one son is impossible. Nevertheless, since the Lord knows how to adjust everything, the best course is to depend upon him and do one's duty in devotional service to the Lord. In all circumstances, one should be undisturbed by the duality. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 2.47, Karmaneva Dikarasya Ma Phaleshu Kadachan Ma Karmafal Heturbur Ma Te Sangoastva Akarmani. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. One should execute one's devotional duty, and for the results of one's actions, one should depend upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Segan Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Segan Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश धारिणे Hare Krishna. So, just setting the context of this story that we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. So, for devotees like Mahaprabhu and Shivam Prabhu as they have joined us, so this story comes in the sixth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Maharaj Chitraketu, who was the emperor of the entire kingdom of the entire world, was very morose. Although he was a saintly king, he had all the opulence and he was very much inclined towards serving devotees. Still, he had one problem, that he was not having any son. He had thousands and lakhs of wives, but there was one issue, that he was bereft of a son. He wasn't able to get son from any of his wife, and that was the cause of his lamentation. So anyone who would see him, who would understand that the king is not happy. So once Angira Rishi visited the king, and the king welcomed Angira Rishi very nicely and served him, and he served him food. He gave him nice place to sit, to take rest. But the Rishi could sense that the king is not happy. And on inquiring, the Rishi came to know that he is not happy because of not having a son. So Angira Rishi gave a benediction that he gave him a fruit, and whichever wife ate that fruit would beget a son. So he gave that fruit to his eldest wife, whose name was Kritadyuti, and in due course of time she begot a son. She became pregnant and she begot a son. And as soon as he begot a son, he was very happy, because he wanted to have a son, as it is the duty of a king to have a, a person he will descend the king, a rightful heir. And unless he has a son, he would not be able to take sannyas or move to the next stage of vanprastha life, where he can fully focus on the Supreme Lord. So since he wasn't having any son, he was not happy. But as soon as he had the son from his eldest wife, he was very happy. But the thing that happened was that other the co-wives became envious of the eldest queen, because the king started giving most of his time to the eldest queen. She became his favorite. he became more affectionate towards the eldest queen in comparison to the other co-wives, to the other co-queens. So then they had uh, plotted a plan where they thought that they would poison the child, and they actually gave poison to the child, and the child died. So Angira Rishi had asked the king that when you get a son, you name that son with the name Harshashok, which means l- jubilation and lamentation. The king at that time didn't inquire the reason why such a kind of name was being asked by the rishi. Since he wanted to have a son, so he said, okay, whatever you will say, I'll do, but just give me a son. So in due course, as he had son, but he died. And then the king, as soon as the king came to know that his son has died, he wasn't even able to stand and wasn't even able to walk till the room in which the son was lying dead. So slowly he was crawling, and he went to that room, and he saw that his son was lying dead, and he was crying, he was lamenting, he was becoming unconscious, he was getting fainted, and then again was getting up. So at that time, Angira Rishi saw the state of king, and he took with himself Narad Muni. He asked Narad Muni as well to accompany him to the king. And as soon as the king saw, he wasn't even able to stand, and he just fell on to their feet, and he was crying. And then he requested the saints that you are powerful sages. Please bring my son back to life. So first they tried to console, but the king was very difficult to be consoled, and then they brought the son back to his life. But as soon as the son came back, and the king asked the son that why son, why my son have had you left us? Why did you leave us? We are your parents. I am your father and she's your mother. So why did you leave us? So the son started speaking knowledge of transcendence. He told that I had so many births, and by the will of Supreme Lord, I have been transmigrating from one body to another. So it is not my will that I had left you, but it is by the will of Supreme Lord that I had to leave you. And you are saying that you are my father and mother, but of which birth are you my father and mother? So when the king came to know about these topics, and then the child spoke on spiritual knowledge and the knowledge of soul, and how body is different from spirit, soul, and one should not lament when a person leaves his body, then the king was astonished. And then the child immediately died. And then this particular verse comes where the translation says, the Supreme Lord, Atma, the creator of cause and effect, does not accept the happiness and distress that result from fruitive actions. He is completely independent of having to accept a material body, and because he has no material body, he's completely independent of having to accept a material body, and because he has no material body, he is always neutral. The living entities, being part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, possesses his qualities in a minute quantity. Therefore, one should not be affected by lamentation. So here, if we see that the king was affected by lamentation, but the verse says that one should not be affected by lamentation. And before that, it says that the Supreme Lord is independent of everything. He is not affected by material body or material modes of nature. And even in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says that some people consider me as a normal human being, and they are known as Muda. They are rascals because they consider that I have accepted a human body. This is a normal misconception amongst many people that Krishna was having some superpowers, but he was a normal man. He was like us only with some special powers. But if we see from his life, he had done so many supernatural things that is not possible by anyone. And even if we see in Bhagavad Gita, Vyasdev says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. When Dhritarashtra spoke, it is mentioned by Vyasadev as Dhritarashtra Vacha. When Arjun was speaking, it was mentioned as Arjuna Vacha. When Sanjay is speaking, it is mentioned as Sanjaya Vacha. But when Krishna is speaking, Vyasadev is not writing Shri Krishna Vacha. What he is writing? Shri Bhagavan Vacha. He is specifying so that there is no room for speculation. If he would have written Shri Krishna Vacha, then people would have speculated, okay, Shri Krishna was a special personality, he had some special powers. But just to clarify everything, Vyasadev is writing as Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. So there is no doubt Vyasadev is himself a literary incarnation of Lord. And he is writing that Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. And when it is written as Bhagavan, then Krishna is speaking. So it is very clear, even from Bhagavad Gita, even a layman should understand this thing. That when Krishna is speaking, it is mentioned as Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Still, people are speculating on that point. Even Parashar Muni, father of Vyasadev, gives a definition of Bhagavan. He says, Aishwarasya samagrasya viryasya yashasa shriya Gyan Vairagyashcheva Shannam Bhaga Iti Gana. That one who possesses 6 opulences and that too in full is justified to be called as Bhagavan. One who has complete wealth, complete knowledge, complete fame, complete strength, complete renunciation, and all opulence and renunciation. So he is justified to be called as Bhagavan. We see in this world that one may possess wealth, but can one say that I have the entire wealth? No. No one can say that I have all the wealth of this entire world. Even Bill Gates, Ambani, or anyone cannot say that I possess the entire wealth. But Krishna says that I possess all the wealth. We can see that even in Vrindavan, it is given in Krishna book and Srimad Bhagavatam, that as soon as Krishna appeared in Vrindavan, it was full of opulence. Nand Maharaj had 900,000 cows. You can just imagine 900,000 cows was there with Nand Maharaj. There was so much opulence in Vrindavan. Dwarka is known for its opulence. So I have a question. Which has more opulence? Dwarka or Vrindavan? Which place has more opulence? Dwarka or Vrindavan?
I mean, like Dwarika has that Aishwarya Bhav we always hear, but now you just mentioned, like, Nand Maharaj has had, like, 900,000 cows. So that we can say that like that was also like opulence. Yeah. I mean,
yes.
no, that's it. Yeah.
Yes. So I heard in one lecture that what happened in Dwarka, that the Madhurya, right? The Madhurya of Krishna is covered by opulence of Dwarka. When Krishna shows Madhurya and when he shows opulence, then opulence overpowers Krishna's Madhurya, as you can see in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. When Krishna earlier was acting as Arjun's friend, but as soon as he had shown his opulence of his universal form, immediately Arjun folded his hands and he was terrified. And he was seeing that I was calling you as my Sakha, as my friend, and even I would call you by ill names. But I'm sorry, Krishna. So we can see that Madhurya, friendship of Arjun, was overpowered by the opulence of Krishna. But it's completely opposite in Vrindavan. Vrindavan has much more opulence than even Dwarka. But there, Madhurya overpowers Aishwarya Bhav. That is the beauty of love in Vrindavan. Krishna shows his opulence. In Dwarka, when Krishna is in Dwarka, to show his opulence, he's picking up bow and arrow, or he's doing some super excellent activity. But in Vrindavan, he's killing demons like anything. He's just whirling around the demons and they are dying. Everyone is seeing that. Krishna swallowed the entire forest fire. Everyone is seeing that opulence, but still they think he's our child only. So we can see that the opulence, Aishwarya of Krishna is overpowered by Madhurya in Vrindavan. Even in Brahma Samhita it is said that Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevyamanam. That Sahasra Lakshmi, thousands of Lakshmi are serving Krishna in Vrindavan. So so much opulence is there in Vrindavan. But still Madhurya is there. So we can see that Krishna has all opulence. He is Bhagavan. He has all knowledge. He's saying in Bhagavad Gita that he's saying that I gave the same knowledge to Vivaswan, sun god, billions of years ago, and I'm giving that same knowledge to you. And the entire Vedic knowledge is coming from Krishna. He says, Vedeshta sarver aham ev vedyo. So he has the entire opulence. We can see his renunciation. He has everything. Still, he's ready to become chariot driver. So this is renunciation. He is ready to accept even a menial position for his devotee. That is why he is Bhagwan. In this world, one can possess one or two qualities, and that too in a minute quantity. Still, people become proud of it. But Krishna has everything, and
आवाज
everything
कमी कर दे खूप मोठा आहे
still we can see that he is humble. And that is why he is called as Bhagwan. And Vyasdev is mentioning in Bhagavad Gita as Sri Bhagwan Uvacha. Just to clarify all these speculations, that we should not have any doubt that Krishna is not an ordinary person who is affected by material moods, who is affected by material dualities of happiness and distress. And in this verse, it is said that Krishna is neutral. And Prabhupada is clarifying in purport that neutral doesn't mean that he doesn't do any activity. He is not lazy. But what he doing? He's doing dharma samsthapana. He's coming and he's himself taking charge of establishing dharma. Otherwise, Krishna doesn't do much work. It is stated in Upanishads, Natasya karam karnam cha vidyate, that he doesn't do any work. Just by his glance, entire cosmic manifestation is happening. And the universe in which we are living is just compared to a mustard seed. Just a mustard seed in a bucket of mustard seeds. What is the size of mustard seeds? Just a small pinch, a dot from our pen. And this is the universe in which we are living. And we are having innumerable universes, and all those universes are created just by a mere glance of Krishna. So he doesn't do much activities. But still, there is one most important work that he does, and that is Dharma Samsthapana. And for this purpose, he has given all the Upanishads, all the Vedas. He comes as himself as Vyasdev to give us Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, so that people of Kali Yuga can read this and get benefit out of this. And even just to establish Dharma, he participated in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And he says that Arjuna, I can kill everyone. Actually, everyone is already killed. You just become an instrument. Nimitta matra bhavya savyasachi. That your duty is just to become an instrument. All these kings, they have done so many irreligious activities that they are bound to die. But I want you to take the credit. So that is the beauty of Krishna. And even Krishna, just to establish dharma in Kali Yuga, came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. वैराग्य विद्या निज भक्ति योग शिक्षार्थमेका पुरुष पुराना श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य शरीरधारी कृपाम्बुदीर्यस्तमहं प्रपद्ये. That Sri Krishna has come himself as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why? To teach us Vairagya, renunciation, Vidya, knowledge, Nij Bhakti Yoga, and to teach us devotional service. You can just see the renunciation and what all steps Krishna took to establish Dharma. That he had Sachi Mata, he had a beautiful wife with the name Vishnu Priya. He gave up so that he can establish Dharma, so that people respect and follow the Yug Dharma, that is Harinam Sankirtan. As earlier, people were taking Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very cheaply and they were not following what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to teach. So, just to teach them, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas. So although Krishna is neutral, still he performs activity and the purpose is dharma samstapana. And what Krishna wants and what is state that a person of knowledge is similar to Krishna, that which means that he is also equipoised in happiness and distress. That is Samadarshina, Pandita. That he is not bewildered by happiness or distress. It's not that just when we are in a situation of distress that we are bewildered. Even when we are jubilant, we achieve or we overachieve, still we are bewildered and we forget our duty. That is why in Bhagavad Gita Krishna says matra sparshastu konteya shitoshana sukha dukkada agama paino nityas tam stitikshasva bharata. That one should tolerate Matra sparshastu konteya shitoshna sukha dukkada. As one tolerates sheath, winter, and ushan, summer, or when as one tolerates too much cold or too much heat, similarly one should tolerate happiness and distress. Sukha dukkada. They are like agama paino. As summer comes and winter also comes, similarly happiness will come and distress will come. So one should not be bewildered by such a change. This is the knowledge Krishna is giving in the beginning, that we are spirit soul. There will be happiness, there will be distress. It's fine to have emotions, but we should not neglect our duties. In purport, Prabhupada is writing that Chitraketu Maharaj was advised that remaining neutral in such trying circumstances as the death of one's sons is impossible. Chitraketu Maharaj's son had died, so it was impossible for him to remain neutral. It is fine to have emotions. We are humans, so it is fine to have emotions, but one should not neglect his duties. When Abhimanyu died on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna lamented, but it's not that next day he didn't go to fight. He took an oath that I will kill Jarasandh, else I'll commit suicide. I'll enter into fire. So when we have such situations, when there are situations of happiness or distress, it's fine to have emotions, but still one should not neglect his devotional service. It should not happen that we are skipping our chanting of 16 rounds that we have promised to our spiritual master, or we are not reading regularly, or we are skipping our services. This is what is meant by we should be equipoised, and we should be equipoised towards different people. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmane Gavi Hasini Shuni Cheva Pakicha Pandita Samadarshina. That who is a Pandit, who is a learned man, who is equal towards everyone, towards a Brahman, towards the elephant, towards a dog. Life of Srila Prabhupada. He was equal with everyone, whether it was Sally Agarwal, in whose home initially Prabhupada stayed in Boston. He was eating from the same fridge in which she was putting cooked meat. He was not saying, "Oh, I am a sannyasi. You should not do. You are a mlech. You are a chandal." No, He was grateful towards Sally Agarwal that you are providing me shelter, you are providing me a place to live, you are helping me in arranging programs. And after some time, when Prabhupada understood that in Boston it's very difficult to get so many people, then he moved to New York, and especially in New York, to the Bowery Street. He could have stayed in Manhattan or where Polish people were staying, but he wanted to go to the most rest people who needed Krishna consciousness the most. It's the mode of Nityan Prabhu who gave Krishna consciousness to Jagai and Madhai. He knew if Brahman is accepting Krishna consciousness, that is fine. But if Jagai and Madhai accept Krishna consciousness, then the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will spread. And Srila Prabhupada had that same mood. He wanted to give Krishna consciousness to everyone, even to the most fallen people. That is why he went to Bowery Street, and he was not discriminating. It's stated that when he would go to his room, so he would have to pass on many people who were lying intoxicated, who were so much intoxicated that they were unconscious. And Prabhupada was climbing on top of those people and going towards his room. There was so much smell of urine, alcohol, intoxicants, and even I read in Lilamrit that once Prabhupada was trying to push against the door towards to climb to his building, and the door was not opening, so he took help from someone. And what they saw was that a person had taken too much drugs and he died by taking those drugs. And it was very common in Bowery Street that people would die of hallucination. So Prabhupada was equiposed. He didn't differentiate. That is why when we are preaching, or when we get a service, we should not discriminate that this person is more capable of receiving Krishna consciousness and this person may not receive Krishna consciousness. We should not discriminate. We don't know if when we are doing book distribution, we don't know who may become a great devotee. Like there is a story of Crazy Peter. All the devotees would not even allow Crazy Peter to enter into temple. He was having so much smell coming from his body. He was intoxicated, and he had so long hairs that no one would allow him to get into the temple, and they would call him as Crazy Peter. So once Srila Prabhupada visited the temple, and as Prabhupada was passing by, he saw that man who would be either lying or who would be sitting in temple hall with his legs open, wide open, towards facing towards deities. So Srila Prabhupada asked, "Who is this?" And they told that he's Crazy Peter. So Srila Prabhupada went towards him and he just patted on his head and uh, gave him some blessings. And after some time, devotees found that same Crazy Peter became a scholar of Sanskrit. So we can see that Srila Prabhupada was equal towards everyone. Towards everyone, he was equal. ब्रह्म भूत प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न कांक्षति समा सर्वेषु भूतेषु मत भक्तिं लभते परम. He's sama sarveshu bhuteshu. In all circumstances also he is equal. Brahma bhuta prasann atma na shochati na kankshati. He doesn't lament for past or to become jubilant or just mesmerized thinking about future. He stays in present. Srila Prabhupada says, Krishna tested me 2 times. First, when he took everything away from me, and second, when he gave everything to me. So when Prabhupada was running Prayag pharmacy, there was fire in his pharmacy and everything was burnt. He came under debt. People who had to pay Srila Prabhupada were not paying him the money, but he had to pay to other people who were the suppliers. So Krishna tested him. And at that time, when he saw that his factory was under fire, he remembered a verse from Srimad Bhagvatam, that when Krishna is merciful on someone, he takes everything away from him. So see, Prabhupada was equipoised in that circumstance. And second time when he gave everything to him, Prabhupada had more than 5,000 initiated disciples. He had 108 temples. Everywhere Prabhupada was being respected, whether it was Vrindavan, Juhu, Mayapur, everywhere, even in outside world. So many people were interviewing him. Still, he had the mission of a spiritual master in his mind. So this is how a devotee should be equipoised. It is given in Bhagavad Gita that how we can attain peace just by seeing the example of an ocean. That so many rivers enter into ocean, but the ocean remains still. Similarly, there may be incessant flow of desires, but one should remain equipoised. He should not be affected. If he is not affected, then only he will be peaceful. This is given in second chapter, I think verse 70, this example of ocean. That definitely there will be so many desires, but we should remain still, equipoised as an ocean remains still. We should not consider this is me or this is mine, or we should not get affected when things are not going as per what we want, how things should happen as per our likes or dislikes. Most of the times we are under distress because people are not acting as per our will, and we start judging others. And when we act in a wrong way, then we start giving excuses. So what happens? That we become lawyer for ourselves but a judge for others. We start judging others, but we start giving excuses when we are doing wrong, which is not the correct way. We want to change the entire world. That is not possible. So what is possible? That instead of trying to change the entire world, let us try to bring a change in ourselves. That is the most important thing and practical thing that we can do. It is very difficult to change the entire world, but we can bring a change in ourselves, and that will help in becoming equipoised and peaceful, because things won't happen as per our desire. Things will never happen as per desire, and there'll be so many desires that are flowing. So we should remain still, we should remain equipoised. And let's discuss the next verse. So text 12. Shri Badarayani Ruvacha iti udirya gato jivo gyatayastasya te tada vismita mumuchu shokam chitvatma sneha shinkhalam. Translation. Shri Shukdev Goswami continued, when the conditioned soul, Jeev, in the form of Maharaj Chitraketu's son, had spoken in this way and then left, Chitraketu and the other relatives of the dead son were all astonished. Thus they cut off the shackles of their affection, which was due to their relationship with him, and gave up their lamentation. So this relationship was based on the body. But they understood that we are not this body but spirit soul. In Bhagavad Gita it is stated, जातस्य हि ध्रुवोर मृत्युर ध्रुवम जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मात् अपरिहार्यर्थे न tum suchitum arhasi. So Krishna is saying, when Arjuna is saying that, how can I kill my grandfather, my guru, my relatives, my brothers? It is very difficult. And then Krishna is saying that one who has taken birth is sure to die. Jatasya hi dhruvor mrityur dhruvam jan mritasya cha. One who has taken birth is sure to die, and when one dies, he will definitely take birth. So in your discharge of duty, why are you lamenting? Na tvam sochitum arhasi. There is no reason of lamentation. And this we are seeing that they cut off their shackles of affection, which was due to the relationship with him, and gave up their lamentation. So what is the reason of our lamentation? Prabhupada states that it is ignorance. Ignorance of the self. That we have not yet realized that we are not this body but we are spirit soul. And this is what Srila Prabhupada was emphasizing again and again. Once disciple asked that, Prabhupada, you always say that we are not this body, we are spirit soul, we are not this body, we are spirit soul. So we have heard this many times. Please say, tell us more deep about, in more depth, or some other thing. Why are you telling this thing again and again? So Prabhupada told that, have you understood this? Have you realized this? So the disciple told, no, Prabhupada. So Prabhupada told, that is why I'm repeating again and again. So repetition is the mother of learning. When we are doing our studies or something, so we repeat again and again. It's not that we just read once and we don't read it again. In order to understand and later realize, we need to repeat this knowledge again and again. And this is the knowledge which Krishna gave to Arjuna in the beginning. Arjuna was lamenting and he was on the battlefield. Just consider it's the World Cup final match, India versus Pakistan. And then the captain says that, what should I do? And then the coach is telling the knowledge of soul. It may seem irrelevant. Again, here Arjuna is on the battlefield. This is the battlefield for which he was preparing since many years. He had spent his last 14 years preparing for this battle. And when he was on the battlefield, he was confused. And at that time, Krishna is giving the knowledge of soul. Why is giving the knowledge of soul? Because that is the most important knowledge, the foundation of the building. What he's telling, Dehino asmin yathade komaram yovnam jara. That soul transmigrates within body itself from childhood to youth to old age. So this knowledge of soul is very, very important. Krishna is emphasizing on this. So it is very important for us as well to realize, at least to theoretically understand the science of soul. So we can see even from various examples which Prabhupada gives in his lectures and books about the science of soul. So one of the proof of existence of soul is, I'll quickly cover as we are running short of time, that one of the proof of existence of soul is consciousness. Just as sun is situated in one place, but sunshine is spread throughout the universe. Similarly, spirit soul is present within the region of heart, but its effect in the form of consciousness is spread throughout our body. And this shows the presence of soul, that we are conscious, that we are able to think, we have some feelings, we have desires, which shows the presence of soul. Another proof is when someone passes away, we says he has passed away. But that person is lying in front of us. When someone dies, that person is lying in front of us. Still we are saying he has passed away. Why? Because the spirit soul has gone from that body. 10 minutes back, that same person was talking, he was laughing, he was sitting. But as soon as the spirit soul passes from that body, that person is just a dead matter made up of earth, water, fire, and ether. That's it. So when we are saying he has passed away, this means that spirit soul has passed away. This is the second proof. And another proof is reincarnation. Even from this story of Chitraketu Maharaj, we can see that Chitraketu Maharaj in his next life became Vritrasur. So similarly, we we may we may suffer in our present life due to some past misdeeds that can be in this life or in the previous life. Sometimes people say that I have done so many good things. Why bad things are happening to me? Why bad things happen to good people? For there is a flaw in this question, because our time frame is from this body, that I was born on so and so date, so I have not done anything bad from this date. But we may have done some bad things in our previous life, and right now we are suffering from reactions of those karma, as Vritrasur suffered the reactions of from his previous life of Chitraketu Maharaj. So reincarnation shows that it's not that this is the only life, that there is no life after this life. We don't take birth again. This is a wrong philosophy. So reincarnation shows this proof. And there are many instances where people have past memories from their previous lives as well. And there are so many stories. We can just do a Google and we can find so many stories. And even there is a doctor, Dr. Ian Stevenson. He has published many stories on this. So this again, one more proof is twins. If we say twins, twins have similar body. They look same, they have same color, their height is similar, everything is same. Still, their likes and dislikes are different. One may be very intelligent, one may be good in sports. One may like some other cuisine of food, someone may like some other cuisine. But how is this possible as per normal philosophy? If their body is same, then everything should be same. The difference is that they have different soul, which carry different impressions from previous lives. So their bodies may be same, but the karma, the impressions from previous lives are different. So this also shows the presence of soul. And there are so many proofs that we can see which shows the presence of soul. So we should understand that when Prabhupada was emphasizing that we are not this body but spirit, soul, and Krishna is also emphasizing, this means that it has importance. And if we see the next verse, Nirhitya gyata yogyatir deham kritvochita kriya tatyajur dustyajam sneham shuka moha bhayarthidam. After the relatives had discharged their duties by performing the proper funeral ceremonies and burning the child's body, they gave up the affection that leads to illusion, lamentation, fear, and pain. Such affection is undoubtedly difficult to give up, but they gave it up very easily. Why they were able to give up? Because they got spiritual knowledge and they were intervened by the presence of Narad Muni and Angira Rishi. So this is very important that unless we have devotees in our life who guide us, who give us the knowledge of soul, how to act on that knowledge, and then we can attain the ultimate goal, where that is Sambandh Abhide Prayojan. Unless we have the intervention of devotees in our life, it is very difficult for us to realize the spiritual knowledge. That is why we should try to take maximum association of devotees. Unless we have that association of devotees and we act on their instructions, it is very difficult to reach the ultimate goal. And what is the ultimate duty of spirit soul? That is Jiver Swarup Hoye Krishner Nityadas. That we are eternally servant of Krishna. That is the action, that is the abhide of our life. That first we need to understand Sambandh, that we are not this body but spirit soul. Abhide is Jiver Swarup Hoy Krishna Nityadas. And when we act by serving Krishna and our spiritual master, then we get Prayojan. That is Krishna Prema of or love of Godhead. So today we discussed about how Krishna is not an ordinary personality, but he is Bhagwan, and Vyasdev is mentioning him as Sri Bhagavan Uvacha instead of Sri Krishna Uvacha, just to clarify all the speculations or misconceptions. And then we discussed that the definition of Bhagwan, who has 6 opulence and that too in full. Then Lord is neutral, but he is not lazy. He comes to establish Dharma. And a devotee should also remain equipoised. He should not differentiate between people who is capable of receiving Krishna consciousness or not. If devotees would have differentiated, then definitely we would also not have received Krishna consciousness, as we are not qualified, but it is just the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and devotees that we have received this matchless gift of Krishna consciousness. Similarly, when we are giving this gift, when we are doing book distribution or when we are preaching, we should also not differentiate. We should be equipoised, and we should also be equipoised in different situations of happiness and distress. And then we discussed about the science of soul, where we discuss the presence of soul as consciousness. When someone dies, we say he has passed away, reincarnation, and the example of twins. So, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to share something in Krishna consciousness. Although everyone is a very senior devotee, they have been practicing since many years, still they are giving me an opportunity to share something. So if someone has any comments or questions, then we can take. So are there any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for a very nice class. I mean, very nice like class you have given, like many verses quoted from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And it's a nice reminder for us, like how we should behave, like in the different situation. And like you mentioned, like when we are in distress situation, then only we like behave certain way. And yeah, I mean, overall, very nice. I don't have any specific question. I will ask your devotees if they have any question or any comments. You can ask.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. I also don't have any question, but your class is so wonderful and informative. And lastly, you summarized the class with the points that, because I joined late today a little bit, but I understood like, whatever I heard. It was so wonderful, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. And you did 11, 12 and 13 verse, right, Prabhuji?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Sri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. It was very nectarian class, touching most of the points and different examples. Prabhuji, you mentioned about one person who used to sit by spreading his leg towards the deity, and Prabhupada tapped his head, so and he become very scholar in Sanskrit in future. So do you know, like, would you like to share the name of that person? Like, who was that person? Is it?
Yeah, he's still there. I'm skipping that name, but he's still there, and he's a very big scholar. And I just don't remember that name, but yeah, if I remember that name, I'll definitely let Mataji know, and she can share with everyone. But he's very famous. That crazy Peter story. I can share. I can search and give you the name. But that Prabhupada disciple is still there. Krishna consciousness.
Mhm. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. It was such a nice class, very logically establishing the decimating the Mayavadi concept, Aham Brahmasmi, and then Tattvamasi, then thinking everybody is God, and that God has those opulences, and accordingly, yet he comes to establish the principles of religion, and so logically establishing and decimating this Mayavadi philosophy, and also stating how the Vaishnavas, the pure Vaishnavas, spread Lord's mercy everywhere, and how we should be acting in humility. It was such a, and no, of course, the difference between the spirit and the matter and the spirit, the essence of the spiritual knowledge. So it's nice, so nice and logically established, and so it was such nice and refreshing to hear, and your association is very much purifying and valuable. Prabhuji, thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. And yeah, that name of devotee is Kushakrit Prabhu. Right now he's a Sanskrit scholar. That crazy Peter was Kushakrit Prabhu. So I can share one link which is offering by Giriraj Maharaj. So he's stating the name. I've shared that link in chat.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. So Hare Krishna. So thank you very much for giving me an opportunity. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guru.
Hare Krishna, Vancha Kalpataruvascha Kripa Sindhuveva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णवृंद की जय, नमः श्रीदास ठाकुर की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, हिज ग्रेस तरुण प्रभु की जय,
जय
ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. हरे कृष्णा, दंडवत प्रणाम. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Then